Adrian Holt had everything the world could offer: wealth beyond imagination, a mansion large enough to echo even in silence, and a name that commanded respect in every boardroom. Yet every night, as he sat alone at the head of a long polished dining table, there was nothing but an empty stillness that wrapped around him like a cold fog. Born with perfect hearing, a devastating illness in his early 30s had taken it away in a matter of months, leaving him in permanent silence. The world moved on with its chatter and laughter, but Adrian remained trapped behind invisible walls, cut off from the simplest human comfort, the sound of another soul. His employees admired him, but no one truly knew him. His wealth protected him, yet isolated him even more, and over the years the silence became his most loyal companion, and his cruelest enemy. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected miracles, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Despite his attempts to distract himself with expensive meals, classical art, or charity work, nothing filled the void. His mansion, once vibrant with music and parties, had become a silent museum of memories he could no longer experience fully. Even though staff continued their work, moving quietly through hallways, polishing silverware, preparing meals, Adrian existed beside them rather than among them. He spoke through written notes and gestures, but conversations were brief, transactional, and never warm. His heart had grown weary with a loneliness that money could never cure. Working in this mansion was Rosa Melendez, a humble cleaning lady who carried more weight on her shoulders than her small frame suggested. Life had not been kind to her, but she faced it with quiet resilience. She cleaned rooms with care, treated items with respect as if they were alive, and always greeted Adrian with a soft smile even though she knew he could not hear it. Rosa had recently given birth to her baby boy, Mateo, an energetic child with bright eyes and a laugh that filled any space with sunshine. With no one to watch the baby during the long evening shifts, she brought him with her, making sure he stayed in the staff area where he would not disturb anyone. On a cold autumn evening, Adrian sat alone again, a steaming dinner placed before him, beautifully presented yet tasteless to his lonely heart. The chandelier above glowed warmly, but the air around him felt heavy and unmoving. He felt the ache of silence deeper than usual that night, a crushing reminder of everything he had lost. Meanwhile, Mateo wriggled out of the small playpen where Rosa had placed him. Driven by pure curiosity, the toddler toddled down the hall and followed the soft glow of the dining room lights. Before Rosa could notice, the child, tiny, determined, and innocent, entered the grand room where Adrian ate alone. When Adrian looked up and saw the baby standing near his seat, a flicker of surprise broke through his usual stern composure. Mateo, with his chubby hands and wide grin, seemed mesmerized by the elegant table and the men sitting silently at its head. Adrian felt torn between confusion and a strange warmth he hadn't felt in years. Rosa rushed in moments later, horrified and apologizing with frantic gestures, trying to carry Mateo away. But something unexpected happened. The baby resisted, reaching out toward Adrian with a joyful squeal. Though Adrian could not hear it, he felt the vibration of the sound in the air, something he wasn't used to noticing anymore. For the first time in years, a genuine smile tugged at Adrian's lips. He motioned gently for Rosa to stay, gesturing that it was okay. Hesitant and embarrassed, she set Mateo down again, and the little boy immediately crawled toward Adrian's plate, fascinated by the colors of the food and the reflections in the silverware. Adrian watched him with growing tenderness, feeling a strange lightness stirring inside his chest. Mateo then did something no one expected. He placed his tiny palm over Adrian's heart and looked up into his eyes with a seriousness far beyond his years. That simple touch, warm, innocent, profoundly human, sent a shiver through Adrian. It had been so long since anyone had touched him with affection, without hesitation or pity. The baby then babbled something, a stream of joyful sounds Adrian couldn't hear but felt in a way he couldn't explain. It was as if Mateo's presence cracked open a door inside him that had been shut for far too long. The next evening, Adrian asked Rosa, through a written note, if she would allow Mateo to visit the dining room again. She was stunned by his request but agreed. The baby's visit soon became a daily ritual. Mateo would sit at the massive dining table with his bright pink lunchbox while Adrian ate his formal meals. Sometimes he would clap, sometimes wave his hands wildly, sometimes press his cheek against Adrian's arm. The mansion staff whispered among themselves, amazed at how the quiet, distant millionaire seemed transformed by a child's innocent presence. Days grew into weeks, and Adrian's silent world began to change in ways he couldn't describe. He started noticing things he had ignored before, the faint vibrations of footsteps, the rustle of curtains, even the soft hum of his own breath. Doctors had once told him his hearing would never return, but something inside him had awakened, responding to the world in small, miraculous ways. He wasn't hearing exactly, but he was feeling life again, connecting to it, embracing it. One evening, while Rosa cleared the table, Matteo stood on Adrian's lap and pressed his small ear against Adrian's chest, giggling at the rhythmic thump he discovered. Adrian felt the vibrations of that giggle deep within him, so powerful, so alive, so full of everything he thought he had lost forever. Tears slipped down his face before he could stop them. Rosa froze, shocked. She had never seen Adrian cry. He shook his head gently, signaling that these were good tears. As Matteo's visits continued, Adrian began learning to communicate with him through gestures, expressions, and touch. The mansion was no longer silent, not truly. It echoed with life, warmth, and a joy that transcended sound itself. Rosa noticed Adrian's growing attachment and worried he might be lonely in a way she could never fully understand. But instead of pulling away, Adrian did something that stunned her and everyone who knew him. He arranged for Rosa and Matteo to move into a private cottage on the property, offering her a better salary and promising a safe environment for the child. Rosa broke down crying, overwhelmed by kindness she never expected. Adrian, once unreachable and emotionally distant, found himself creating a family of sorts with two people who had walked into his life by pure accident. If this story touches your heart or reminds you of the beauty of unexpected kindness, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. Before we end, tell us in the comments, would you let a small act of innocence change your life too? And as Adrian watched Matteo fall asleep in Rosa's arms one quiet evening, he finally understood the miracle the baby had given him. It wasn't the faint return of sensation or the cracks in his lonely silence, it was the rediscovery of connection, of love, of feeling alive again. What the world saw as unthinkable was simply a moment of pure, unfiltered humanity. And in that moment, Adrian realized he no longer dined alone, because his heart was no longer alone.